The phone call lingered in my mind like a storm cloud refusing to break. "Closer than you think," the voice had hissed, its distortion barely masking a sinister edge. I sat in my new apartment, miles from the cottage but still within the reach of Hollow Cove's oppressive fog. The metal box from the lighthouse sat on my table, its contents, photos and Sarah's notes, staring back at me like silent witnesses. 3 months had passed since Langford's disappearance, and the town had grown quieter, as if holding its breath. But the tension inside me only tightened. I couldn't shake the feeling that the answer lay under the light, as Sarah's journal had hinted. The lighthouse had yielded the box, but what else was hidden there? The next night, under a moonless sky, I returned. The air was thick with mist, the beam from the automated lighthouse slicing through it like a blade. My flashlight trembled in my grip as I climbed the spiral stairs again, each creak of the rusted metal amplifying my heartbeat. At the top, beneath the lens, I searched more thoroughly. The loose floorboard had already given up its secret, but a faint scratch on the wall caught my eye. A symbol etched into the stone, a spiral with a jagged line through it. It matched a sketch in Sarah's journal, labeled "The Mark." Her notes speculated it was a sigil, tied to the old disappearances, perhaps a ritualistic sign left by whoever, or whatever, lurked in the bay. As I traced the mark with my fingers, a low hum vibrated through the room. The light above flickered and the temperature dropped. I froze, sensing a presence. Turning, I saw it, a shadow darker than the night hovering near the stairs. No features, just a void where a face should be and eyes that glowed faintly red. My breath caught. Was this the bay ghost Mrs. Whittaker had rambled about, or something worse? I stumbled back, box clutched tight, and the shadow lunged. I swung the flashlight, its beam cutting through the figure, but it reformed, its hum growing into a growl. Panic surged as I bolted down the stairs, the shadow trailing like smoke. Reaching the ground, I tripped, the box spilling open. The photos scattered and the shadow paused, fixating on them. Seizing the moment, I grabbed the box and ran, the lighthouse door slamming shut behind me as I fled to my car. Back home, I pored over the photos again. One caught my eye, a group shot with Langford and the missing women, but in the background, a blurred figure stood on the cliffs, holding a lantern, the same red glow as the shadow's eyes. Sarah had circled it, scribbled, "Not human, guardian, watcher." My mind raced. Was this thing tied to the disappearances, protecting some ancient secret of Hollow Cove? The next day I sought Tom Riley, the fisherman who'd seen a figure that night. He lived in a shack by the docks, reeking of fish and whiskey. His one good eye narrowed as I showed him the photo. "Aye, that's it," he muttered. "Seen it before, years back, thought it was the drink. Followed me once, but I ran. Never told no one, feared it'd come for me." He clammed up when I pressed for more, shoving me out with a warning, "Leave it be, girl, the bay don't forgive." But I couldn't. That night another call came. Same distorted voice. "The mark is the key, but you're not ready." Click, the mark, the spiral. I returned to the journal, finding a map Sarah had drawn connecting the disappearance sites to the lighthouse. The spiral's center. Was it a ritual site, a trap? Driven by desperation, I gathered supplies, rope, a camera, a knife, and headed back at dawn. The fog was denser, the sea roaring below. At the lighthouse base, I found a hidden cave entrance, its walls etched with the same spiral mark. Inside, the air was cold, the hum louder. My flashlight revealed an altar of driftwood and bones, surrounded by more photos, recent ones, including Sarah's face. A rustle behind me. I turned to see Langford alive, his limp gone, eyes glowing red. "You shouldn't have come," he rasped, voice overlapping with the shadow. "The bay chose her. It chooses all who know too much." Before I could react, the shadow emerged from him, merging into a towering form. I swung the knife, but it passed through. The hum deafened me as it advanced. Instinct kicked in. I threw the camera, its flash blinding the entity. It recoiled and I ran, tripping over the altar. A hidden compartment opened, revealing a journal older than Sarah's, pages of chants, the spiral's meaning. A seal to bind the bay's guardian, a being that fed on the lost. The last entry, to free them, break the seal. The shadow loomed again. I grabbed the journal, chanting the words aloud. The cave trembled, the hum turning to a scream. The entity dissolved and Langford collapsed, human again, lifeless. Silence fell, but the fog didn't lift. Had I freed Sarah, or just angered something worse? Outside, I found her red raincoat, pristine now, lying on the cliff edge. No sign of her. The phone rang. Unknown. "You've opened the door," the voice said. "Now finish it." The line went dead. The bay whispered below, and I knew this was far from over. The red raincoat lay in my hands, its fabric still damp from the fog, as if it had just been worn. The cave's altar and Langford's lifeless form haunted my every thought. The bay's whispers grew louder in my ears, a constant murmur that seemed to seep through the walls of my apartment. The journal from the cave, its ancient pages brittle and stained, sat open on my table, the chant I'd used to dispel the shadow still echoing in my mind. But the voice on the phone, "You've opened the door. Now finish it," left me trembling with uncertainty. What door? What did it want me to finish? Sleep eluded me that night. At 2 a.m. the hum returned, a low vibration that rattled the windows. I grabbed the journal and the box of photos, my heart pounding as I peered out into the fog. A faint red glow pulsed near the cliff edge, where the lighthouse beam struggled to pierce the mist. Against my better judgment, I dressed, pocketed the knife, and drove back to Hollow Cove. The town was eerily silent, the usual hum of fishing boats absent. The lighthouse loomed ahead, its light flickering erratically. As I approached the cave entrance, the spiral mark glowed faintly, pulsating in time with the hum. Inside, the altar was undisturbed, but the air felt heavier, charged with an unseen presence. The journal's pages fluttered despite the stillness, as if guided by an invisible hand. I read the next entry. "The seal is broken, but the guardian awakens. To end it, offer the truth beneath the light." Truth beneath the light. My mind raced back to the lighthouse lens. I climbed the stairs again, the hum intensifying with each step. At the top, the lens pulsed with the same red glow I'd seen in the shadow's eyes. Beneath it, another loose panel revealed a hollow space. Inside was a rusted metal canister, sealed with wax bearing the spiral mark. My hand shook as I pried it open. Inside were letters, dozens of them, written in Sarah's hand, dated after her disappearance. The first read, "Emily, if you find this, I'm alive but trapped. The guardian took me to keep the bay's secret. Break the cycle. The canister holds the key." Tears blurred my vision. She was alive, but where? The letters spoke of a ritual, a cycle of sacrifices to appease the guardian, a being born from the bay's depths to protect a hidden treasure, gold from a wrecked Spanish galleon buried centuries ago. Langford had been its servant, luring victims to maintain the seal. Sarah had uncovered this and paid the price. A sudden crash jolted me. The shadow reformed, larger now, its red eyes blazing. "The truth is forbidden," it roared, its voice overlapping with the hum. I clutched the canister, reciting the chant from the journal. The lens flared and the shadow shrieked, but it didn't dissipate. Instead, it split, revealing a second figure, Sarah, her auburn hair matted, eyes hollow but alive. "Emily, hurry," she gasped, her voice weak. "The gold, it's the anchor, destroy it." The shadow lunged, but I dodged, dragging her toward the stairs. We stumbled outside, the fog thickening. The canister's letters mentioned a cave beneath the cliffs, accessible at low tide. With the tide receding, we raced to the water's edge, the shadow trailing, its hum deafening. We found the cave, its entrance a narrow slit in the rock. Inside, the air was stale, the walls lined with gold coins and artifacts, glinting in my flashlight. At the center, a chest pulsed with red light, the source of the guardian's power. The shadow loomed, blocking the exit. "You cannot take what is mine," it bellowed. I grabbed a rock, smashing the chest. The gold shattered like glass and the cave trembled. The shadow screamed, dissolving into the mist as the hum faded. Sarah collapsed, breathing heavily. "You did it," she whispered. But as we emerged, the fog didn't lift. The bay roared and a new glow appeared on the horizon, fainter but growing. Back in town, the police found us, exhausted and disoriented. They dismissed the gold as a legend, the cave empty when they searched. Sarah was alive, but her memory was fragmented, her story muddled. The case closed as a miracle survival, but I knew better. The phone rang again that night. Unknown. "The Guardian sleeps," the voice said, "but the Bay remembers. Finish the cycle or it begins anew." I looked at Sarah, now resting uneasily. The spiral mark on my arm, unnoticed until now, pulsed faintly. The Bay's hunger wasn't sated, it had a new anchor: me. The mist thickened outside, and I felt the weight of unfinished business pressing down. This wasn't the end.